Hi everyone, it's Beverly Cole. Welcome back to my RV studio. We've had a very busy week. Our renter finally moved out of our house and we've been over there working on it and getting it set up for the next stage. And I haven't been here a lot this week. I want to show you some things that I did. So I cut out, well, actually, it happened when I turned this into what's going to be a journal. I cut this out, and you can see from the size, this is not the whole page that's in here. This is the whole page. So you can see how that's not the entire thing. And then there's more over here of Carlene and me, which is really, really fun. So yes, I will keep those pages and do something with them. I'm thinking maybe putting this in this journal that I cut down, but we'll see. So here's the whole magazine, and then this is the one that I cut down. What I decided I wanted was something more square this time. I thought square was good because of all the different things that we've been doing. And I want to include all of the different techniques that we've done together in one of these journals, because this is not the only one I did. I also did one from a style magazine before that. Actually, I did two. And then from what was left over from this journal, I actually made a couple of little ones. It's actually got places where you can add a page. What I did was I left these two pieces of pages here so that I could add, for example, not necessarily this, but you can add something and glue it in and then have that as part of your journal. Now this is completely done with Fabri-Tac. And the reason I used my Fabri-Tac is because it doesn't make paper wet. It doesn't make paper ripple. I also used a brayer to smooth down everything as I was gluing. So you'll see that here. George is not here today. He's back at the house doing some more work, and he left me here so that I could talk to you. So what I did was cut it down, and then I used a lot of Fabri-Tac, and I put it in here because this has an actual, what I'm calling the spine right here. You can see how this has a spine, and also these. I did the same thing. They have a spine. So what I did was glue as I went so that I had this permanent spine. Now here, we're just going to see that I glued in this journal, I believe it was it 3 pages I glued together. Then I cut some out, and then I continued here. I glued down, what I did was cut out, this one is 3 pages I cut out. So there's 2 here, and then 1 I glued down. What I did was I left about 1 inch. I put my cutting mat underneath, and then I used this really grungy looking ruler. It was stored in that room, so I'm so happy to have this with me now, but I used it a lot in this book. Glue one down, flip the page, and I have 2 more here where I can, they're so fine, to put something else in here if I so desire. Then I glued some more pages together, and I glued down 2 here just to keep the integrity of the spine, and then had 2 here. So that's how I did it through the entire book. The pages are nice and thick. Notice they are not ripply whatsoever because I used that glue. So that you can see there's not a lot of pages in here compared to a regular magazine. That's it. And we have this beautiful spine that I kept by gluing. These are my first ones that I did. I didn't use that technique of cutting and pasting the little bits of the inch of magazines. So what happened with this first one was that I had to use a lot of glue in between every single page as I glued the pages together. These I think are only 2 pages glued together. And then a lot of glue. But you see still, there are no ripples. Absolutely none. No ripples at all. So I really truly believe it's worth the investment, and it's worth your time to do the gluing. This is not the exciting part of making the journal. But the thing is, if you don't go through these steps, I just saw a page where I need to glue more. Let's put some glue in it. If you don't go through these steps of boring, then how are you going to enjoy the exciting parts? If everything is exciting, then it's all the same. This way, we have the work, we have to go through the boredom part, which makes the other parts just that much more fun. And I don't mind cutting and gluing because you're forming a new journal. And this is all I did. I just put the glue in there. You can see me doing it here, right? Not a whole lot. But then what I would do is I would close the book. And when I was closer to the front, I would close it on the front cover. But this is the closer to the back. So I'm just pressing down pretty hard with my brayer. And if you don't have a brayer, you can use anything. You can use a rolling pin if you want to. I wouldn't, but you could. I'd protect this so that, with a piece of something so you didn't get glue all over your rolling pin. But you could also just use your bone folder and just, scrape down on it really well. So what this will do is hold that page in, and then I'm going to bend it on that same place where I have that spine. It's really fun. It's just fun, and it's all glued. Once you're done with the gluing, there's no sewing. There's no sewing. There's no stitching. Also, the little one. The little one's the same thing. It's just smaller with very few pages. And I think I can put something in here to make this a really cute little personal gift. And now I want to show you an idea that I came up with while I was looking at all of the different techniques that we have done together. And there's a lot. One of them I came up with was interesting. I was doing the folds again. Let me see if I can find those that I found. I was like, what the heck? That's so awesome. Let's see. No, not that one, not that one, not that one. That's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is the folding. So yesterday I went through a ton of magazine pages to play with. You can see all the folds I did. Here we go. Here's one, and it's not the only one. Okay, I wanted to fold this lady here and make her a background, for some of the close-up and far-away images, which I think is really effective. So what I did was I fold this one just up like this. And then I found when I did that, I turned it over, I also folded this one. And I thought, well, that's cool, because what I can do is I can add this to the book in one of those places. So I keep showing you that same page in here to glue it into the book. I think that's very, very cool. Because what happens when you put it in between here and you flip it over, you're going to see the other side. See? So we have two. I love it. It's not a real heavy page, and I can't back it with anything because I would lose one of my images. But what I can do is I can add something to the edge. So let's play with this and see what we can do. I'm also not going to want to keep this here. So let me show you my first step to what I want to do with this, these layouts, as far as completing them and making the background kind of fade into the background without doing a ton of work. I just spent a few minutes walking around and grabbing all the things I need, being in this little workspace, and winging it is just pretty much what this video kind of is, because I've been so busy this week. I hope that you enjoy this video. Anyway, this is gesso. So I'm going to work on this. I just grabbed some deli paper because I want to put that, where do I want to put that? Oh, behind this page here. Okay, because I don't want to get it on the next page right now. So what we're going to do is do some gesso and watch what happens when you use gesso, or if you don't have gesso, you can use white paint, white acrylic paint. It's not like you have to buy a whole set of paints, just need some white or the gesso. Now gesso it's white paint, but it also has some kind of a dust in it. Expensive gesso would have marble dust in it. This is not the most expensive, but I love this container, so I keep filling it. This is actually Liquitex gesso. There's a lot of things you could use to cover your page. You could attach scrapbook paper, of course. But I don't want to make this into a giant project for us. I want to enjoy this project. And after doing all that cutting and gluing, it'd be fun to do some fun things. Now this is water-based, so what I'm seeing already is some buckling. It will be okay. And the other thing gesso does, besides pushing your images away, it also will protect the surface, and it has this grit to it. I'm going to go over this right here. I'm going a little heavier over that. That's the strip where I'm going to attach the artwork. And I'll have to do the other side of that one as well, but right now I'm not. I'm just going to do, oops, need some more. And you can, you know, I'm using a little cover to a yogurt container, but you can even just do this, where you just kind of put it right on the page and work with it that way. You can get it in a big container. You don't have to buy any special brand. The difference between them mostly is that some are more thin than others. This one is a little bit liquid. Some of them are heavier. I find that I like this one just fine. And I'm going to go ahead and cover this one as well, the outside edge. So we have these two, and I don't want them sticking to the other two pages. That's the thing. You've got to be careful that they aren't stuck there. The next step is to cut this down. So I got to move this out of the way. Just put it outside, but I'm afraid it'll blow away. It's really hot here in Florida right now. It's in the 90s every day. Okay, so I'll remove my gesso meso, and we're going to go to our page here with the paper trimmer. I am definitely going to order myself a new blade this week. We're moving to a new campground. Well, not a new campground. We've been there before, but I can actually have packages sent to me there. So that's a plus without having to go to my house. So I know the measurements of my book. I believe it's 8 3/8 by 8 3/8. But I can also have a border around it. So I'm just going to cut off this messy edge. I purposely made the book that way to be able to put these things that I make on one page. So it's 8 3/8 by 8 3/8. Right now this is 9 inches. So I have to cut a little off the top and the bottom. I don't want to take off too much from either end. I like the sun shining up here, but I also have to remember I have this side. So part of this is an edge, but I don't want to lose most of this. I want this to fill the page. So I think I will just add something to this side. So let's make this 8 3/8. 8 3/8. Cut off a little of the bottom, and we have it at a square. This is a square. Now we'll just do our regular gluing. We usually glue the pockets, and that's hiding the words, which is perfect. So we have a lovely pocket there. We only glue the sides. And then here's the same thing. Now I'm going to glue this all the way. What it's also going to do by having all that glue here is going to keep it from being so flimsy. So on this side, I need to find something to cover this. So what I think I will do is go to my scraps. Cut a piece of this to fit. It looks like an inch. I'm gonna go with an inch. I might be asking for trouble, but I'm gonna go with an inch. And I have plenty of paper, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Nope, it's an inch, it's perfect, great. So we will just attach this here. Oh, also here, I have to put something up here, right? That's true. I'm going to make it look like a beveled edge there, you know, like a frame. So let's just do another inch. Because if that's an inch, so we'll do an inch across here. Let me get a pair of scissors. Let's just do folding it. Isn't that what we usually do? Isn't that what journal makers do? Crafters do? Of course, I did the wrong way because that doesn't, it just figures, doesn't it? It just figures. So let's do this one. This one. Like this. Oh my goodness, Bev. Hope you're all there with me laughing because it is so silly. I'm just happy to be here doing this with you. After working at the house for days and days, even though the plaid doesn't match, doesn't matter, it doesn't. this is the angle. So I want it to look like a really nice frame. So what I'm gonna do is just glue that down, because it looks neater glued than cut, I think. Just glue that down, right? And then we'll glue it across like that. Nice, look how cute that is. Now this I can trim off. I have no idea why I have extra. Maybe one of you can let me know why. So look how cute that is. It's very three-dimensional. I love it. I love it. I'm wondering if I should do the same at the bottom. What do you think? I think so. I think it would look more like it's intentional. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, another cut. This is already the length. We just need a 1-inch cut. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but I think it's looking good. You know, the more you play, the more you find out ideas. It's the doing. It's the doing. The ideas come from your brain. If you don't play, let's say this has to be that way, then how the idea is going to come from your brain to your hands, and then you have your ideas working. If you have ideas in your head but you never use them, I mean, how do you think people invented stuff? They didn't just say, oh, I have an idea. Yeah, not unless you play with it. Really, that's it. Now you could also, with this, you could have made this into a tuck spot around the edge, things like that, but I'm not doing it. I'm just working right now to play with the idea of the page that's folded on both sides. We haven't done that yet. So when I discovered that, I was so excited. And mostly what I do when I glue this stuff down with this glue is go around the edges first, and then maybe a little bit in the middle. But look at that. I love that. And I think we're going to do more with frames in another video. I have some ideas for some really fun frames. All right. So this doesn't have 4 edges of a frame. Let me go see if my book is dry. Oh, and also always close your glue. See what happens? It just gets this like snotty thing. Okay, so the magazine pages are not quite dry. They're not quite dry, but they're dry enough. These are pretty dry. So what I want to do is insert this page. I really want to show you how we're going to do that. Now the page is exactly the size it needs to be here. So what we can do is either put that over that or put it here. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, should I put that 4th? You know, maybe I'll put the 4th piece. Let's see. We'll put this here and we'll put the 4th frame piece on here. And we'll make it 1 inch. Perfect. So that's what we're going to do here. A 1-inch piece to be our frame that is attached to the book. This is that flap that we put the gesso on to kind of make that background go away. And so what I need to do is fold this piece back here. And again, if you want to match the plaid, go for it. I'm not doing that. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. Wait, let me see. Yeah. So, okay. Okay, what I need to do instead of that, oh, this is getting to be fun. Okay, what I need to do with this is attach, no, maybe not. We're gonna put this here. How fun. And then because if I fold this, well, I could fold both pieces, couldn't I? Why not? Okay, so we're gonna, I'm so excited. All right, what we're gonna do first is glue this to this. All right, so we're gonna take that out and get the glue. Let me fold this other one as well. This one folds this way, this one folds this way. So when we put it there, it goes like that, right? Then we'll add some glue, and this is a piece of the jelly paper, so I'm not gonna ruin it. Ugh, see what happens with this glue? It's so weird, but it's good glue for this kind of project. I'm gonna glue these down. I love this. This is so great because what's happening here is we're not just doing this because, you know, the way we want it to look, but we're doing it and learning. What I'm learning here right now, and hopefully you're learning with me, is how this works, how these little flaps that I left will work when I add something to the page. What I mean with that is this frame, if we didn't use this, then the picture would have just been this. Okay, watch. This is what the picture would have been. Hiding the picture under there, there would be no frame, and that looks strange, right? Because you're hiding it. But this looks planned, and well, it actually is now, but we wouldn't have planned it if we didn't play, right? So we're gonna play. This is going in. You don't want to butt it all the way up. You want to leave some space, probably 1/8 of an inch, so that you don't make it so tight in here and mess up your beautiful your beautiful spine. What we're going to do now is, instead of gluing those little triangles down, do not do it. I almost did. We don't want to do that this time. This time, we are going to glue the whole strip in first. When you make your own book, you might not want a square one. You may not want it to be 8 3/8 by 8 3/8. Although that's what this one is. So it's also going to depend on what size magazine you use. Now, this is one of those local, you know, like if you have a magazine for your county, you know, they have the local people, local things going on. That's why I'm in there, because it was local. It was fun. We got to go down there and, you know, get interviewed and have pictures taken. And I ended up giving him my collage because I was just so thrilled to be in a magazine. Who would have thunk? Let me make sure that's where I want it. No, it goes this way. Right. Now this gets completely glued down right along the edge of that piece that I left in the magazine. That hinge. Yeah, let's call it a hinge. I think that's pretty much what this is. Oh, look, this was sewn here. Now I pulled it apart. I'm gonna have to glue that. But that's okay, that's fine. Now, this is all glued down to this one piece, see? Now what we do is put this in. Oh, we can put it in about 1 inch or so. We don't want it hanging over the edge of the magazine. So you're just gonna leave a little, like I said, like 1/8 of an inch, glue it in, okay? And now we're gonna do this. We're gonna take the piece that it's glued to and that piece of plaid cardstock or scrapbook paper, and now we're gonna glue those down and the entire thing. So we'll glue this in here. I remember a video a while back where I was running out of this. That was a whole bottle ago. Whole bottle ago. I'm gluing those corners down, this one and this one. Now it's not just the card stock, or the scrapbook paper. It's also the piece from the magazine. And then I'm going to glue the entire thing down. And I notice I do have space here. I'm going to re-glue that hinge piece in there because it peeled off. Okay, put glue all along here, and then glue this all down like that. And now we have this great frame. Look at that. And it's got, it's a mitered edge. Now, any of this glue, I need some more up here. Any of this glue that kind of seeps out, once it's dry, you can take an eraser or anything like that, or just your finger, and it'll rub away. It's almost like rubber cement when it dries, so you can get rid of that mess. I wouldn't go in with a pencil eraser. That'll just ruin everything because it's just got too much going on. But look at that. Isn't that cute? Now, that's one side. And when we flip, we have this side. Look at that. Now with this, what I need to do is find a piece of magazine that kind of has some of those colors just to make the, look at that. Isn't that cool? I think I'm going to do that. Or maybe this. Okay, so 8 3/8 by 1 inch. And this is too short, so I'm going to take it from this side. I had folded this one sideways. So this is another hack right here for you. When you have this kind of thing going on and you want to hide it, using magazine, it's easy to hide. And this isn't even a photograph right here. This is like someone's painting they did. But that's okay. It's okay. I'm going to glue it right on top of this. So we're combining some ideas here. Some of them are old that we've already done together, older ideas, combining with this new way of building a journal. So that's using an image that's folded on both sides. Isn't that fun? This was one of the original ideas, but we took it a step further. We elevated it. Thanks for coming by today. See you later. Bye.